I have a second channel, Cube Comp MTDX. Hey everybody, here it is, a new year, 2020, and when it comes to computers these days, there's another drive that is starting to become obsolete rather quickly, and that is the optical disk drive. You know, the CD drive that can play, of course, CDs and DVDs and in some cases Blu-rays. Optical media is starting to become like floppy disk as far as technology goes. I mean, 10 years ago, the floppy disk drive was starting to really become rare and obsolete. Even by the mid-2000s, around 2005, 2006, the floppy disk drive was starting to become less and less common on computers like this one here. And media card readers were starting to become more of a thing. Now, by 2010, USB storage was a lot more popular than optical storage. USB flash drives by that point were getting cheaper and starting to become larger in size, and that really started to take place throughout the past decade. Nowadays, it's non-common to get really large flash drives that are much larger than optical media. And it's interesting, you know, one thing I can mention is with Windows 7. When Windows 7 came out, it was non-common for me to use a DVD to install Windows 7 onto a computer. Whereas nowadays with Windows 10, I use a flash drive. Why? Because, well, Windows 10 every 6 months to a year comes out with a new build, and I'd have to download the new software and put it onto a flash drive. Where the alternative to that would be burn a DVD every 6 months to a year, and that would be kind of wasteful. See, that's one thing about DVDs and CDs is generally, and I'm saying generally, once you write to them, that's it. You can't erase what's on them. And one exception to that would be the CD-RW and DVD-RW drives, the rewritable drives, but performance of those drives has never been all that great. When you compare it to a flash drives with rewritable, of course, rewritable media, it's a whole lot better storage medium versus optical media. So, just like in the mid-2000s to 2010, getting a floppy drive back then, of course, became a lot harder. Matter of fact, with motherboards that came out in, let's say, 2011, 2012, for example, with AMD's, I think it was their 900 series chipset, they dropped support of the floppy disk drive, and yeah, it was nearly impossible to get a motherboard with a floppy disk header. So, for example, with the Mid-Tower Deluxe, when I upgraded it in 2017, I happened to come across a rare USB to internal floppy adapter. So yeah, now with optical drives, it's starting to get sort of that way. Now, of course, you can easily build a computer with an optical drive, because optical drives, of course, the older ones run on IDE, the newer ones run on SATA, the same interface as a hard drive, so installing one is not difficult. But when you go look at laptops and pre-built desktops, the optical drive is becoming less and less common. You don't generally see them nearly as much. Now, when I build systems, I generally do throw in an optical drive, at least a DVD burner, because, at least for me, sometimes optical media is still a way to go. If I'm wanting to create some sort of media that is finalized, DVD would still be a good option. And in some cases, if I'm making DVD videos, which again are that on its own is kind of a dated technology, having the DVD burner is still a good thing to have. But you know, I've noticed myself, used to be 10 years ago, the optical drive was something that I commonly would use to, for example, load in software or burn DVDs or what have you. But nowadays, not floppy drive, but yeah, well, the floppy drive, this was applied to this too, but the DVD drive and the CD drive, I hardly ever even use it. Matter of fact, My mom, not too long ago, on her system, the Black Max, she wanted to burn a DVD with some photos and video. I had to bring my laser lens cleaner disc over so that way the drive would actually start reading again. And that was after I had to work on the drive to where it would actually open a tray, because they've been sitting closed for so long, because it was rarely ever used. See, that's the thing. Optical drives, they're becoming like the floppy diskette drive. They're not. They're more of a legacy drive these days, because optical media is becoming more and more rare. However, as long as audio CDs and stuff like that are around, and of course DVD videos, I still see reason to include one in a system. And I'm considering, here soon, I'm considering making the DVD drive optional in my builds, because in many cases people just don't need them. Now, the cost of a typical DVD burner, at least for a 5 1/4 inch variety off of Newegg, is about $20. So I figured, $20, it's worth to have one in the system just in case I ever need it. But I always find myself not really needing it that much. And these days with pre-built desktops, the 5 1/4 inch drive is practically a dinosaur. Most of the time when you find new desktops with an optical drive, it's just a laptop optical drive fitted into a desktop chassis. And I find laptop optical drives to be extremely unreliable and just poorly made. They were designed to fit into tight spaces, so yeah, they had to sacrifice some quality. But I still feel like 5 1/4 inch drive should be used in applications where an optical drive is included. But that's kind of a different subject. But yeah, and I'm sure many of you guys watching this video probably already know this, but I figured I'd shoot a video anyway about it, because I won't be surprised by, let's say, 2030, optical drives will probably be about as rare as the 5 1/4 inch floppy disk drive. They'll probably be that rare. In many cases, if you ever need, if like for example with the 3.5 inch floppy drive, most of the time people would just buy a USB floppy drive for the few times that they'll need it. If they did need it, they just plug it in and use it. And it's interesting how Windows 10 still has floppy drive support, and that's a good thing, because there are times once in a while where I might need to use a floppy disk drive. One of the reasons why I would need a floppy drive is because years ago our digital camera wrote to floppy disk, and I still once in a while come across floppy disks in storage that had photos on from the 90s or early 2000s. And in those rare instances, that's when I would need my floppy drive to access those files. But again, the optical storage media is getting about as rare as floppy disk, in my opinion. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Tell me what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Well, everybody, that's it for this video. But don't forget, there's a lot more interesting stuff on the channel to check out. Also, if this is your first time visiting this channel, feel free to subscribe to keep your channel. And also, don't forget to tick the bell so that way you'll get notified of new video posts. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. But if you really didn't like it, there is the alternative option available as well. Also, feel free to check out my second channel, CubeComp MTDX. There you'll find videos about bicycling, weather, elevator tours, and all sorts of other neat, interesting stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to come back, and thank you for your support.